What's going on YouTube? So for those of you who don't know, Lexus recently discontinued the GS luxury sedan, which is why the Lexus ES is now stepping up to fill its place. This means Lexus is giving its popular ES a number of updates, tech improvements, and powertrain availability changes for this 2022 refresh. So with these updates, is this the luxury sedan to buy? Let's go ahead and find out. So starting off with the exterior of the refreshed ES, there have been some changes, although it's not anything that's super obvious. It's kind of just a general massaging of the design, considering that this was already a very nice looking luxury sedan. What Lexus has said is that they updated the interior texture of the different grille designs. What we have on this example is the F Sport. So this of course is going to have the aggressive black mesh on the inside as well as the smoked chrome around the outside of the spindle grille. The other models will go with a little bit more subdued design with some bars that run through them. Now, you might be noticing here we have the blue finished badge. That's because this is the ES300 hybrid. And you'll notice I said we have the F Sport. That is new for 2022. The fact that you can now get the F Sport as well as all of the different trim levels across all three powertrains that are offered with this ES. Moving next to our headlights, this is another area that's slightly updated for 2022. The design has been changed just a little bit, but it is still full LED as far as your low and high beams are concerned, as well as the signature Arrowhead daytime running light. And you can continue to option on Lexus's triple beam LED headlights if you want that really cool jewel eye design with all the elements being LED. And as we move around the vehicle next to our wheels, this is another area they have updated. We have some new designs on board for 2022. You're going to start with 17-inch alloys if you choose the very base model, and then you work your way up through a various selection of different designs up until you get to 19-inch alloys on this F Sport model, as you can see finished in the really nice full gloss. And then as we move beyond that, we do have F Sport branding. You have the signature Lexus mirror design with the chrome that kind of goes across it and the two-tone finish, although you can't tell that with this black model. And then new for 2022, you now have standard blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert on all the models, in addition to heating, and then the premium package will throw in power folding.
Now at the side of the ES, you can tell it's a pretty long vehicle, and indeed it is. It's 196 inches in length, and as far as the design, it is pretty aggressive, and we have our nice hybrid badge down here to signify this is the ES300. Now if we come around to the rear design itself, they have changed a few little tiny things, although the overall design is pretty similar for this refresh model. So up here at the top, we have a spoiler since we have the F Sport trim level. This piece of chrome that goes in between the taillights is going to be a nice darkened chrome. And then as far as the taillights themselves, these are going to be a very premium full LED setup. I really like the design of it. It has this nice L shape to it. Really premium taillights. And then if we drop down below that, you'll notice that we do not have exposed exhaust outlets, and that's because we have the hybrid model. The ES250 won't have exposed exhaust, but if you go for the 350 model, you will have dual exposed exhaust. Now, unlike a lot of the German competition, Lexus is not stingy with the safety systems. They're going to throw in every single one of them as standard equipment. That's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, adaptive cruise control, lane keeping assist, as well as auto high beam headlamps. It's now in its latest 2.5 Plus package for 2022, which now has camera and radar enhancements and has intersection turn assist as well as curve speed reduction to the adaptive cruise control. Well guys, they haven't changed a ton on the outside for this ES, but I know they've done quite a bit on the inside, so let's go ahead and check that out. But before we do that, please hit that subscribe button down below, join this Car Confections family, also follow us on TikTok as well as Instagram.
So walking up to the updated ES, you will of course find the standard Lexus Smart Entry system with the newest key fob design, and it does have the little blue surround there since this is the hybrid. Getting inside, just grab the handle. And then checking out the cabin, just like with the exterior, you're not going to notice any huge design updates, but obviously there will be some feature updates, which I'll talk about as we go through the interior section. But let's first talk about the different interior color and material options you have on board, because these have been changed for 2022. So your base model comes with new Lux leatherette seating, as well as the F Sport models. With the F Sport, like we have today, you have the choice between black, white, or my personal favorite choice, this circuit red with the black contrast. I think this looks absolutely amazing and really stands out. Now, as far as the other trim levels, luxury and ultra luxury, those are going to include the high-end semi-aniline leather, and they come, of course, with some exclusive color options such as black, palomino, acorn, and rich cream. Now, turning over here to your door trim, you'll see the same color scheme reflected up here. So we have a lot of the red leather all through the door trim and armrest areas. We do have some soft touch material here with red color contrast stitching. The F Sports are going to include this real aluminum trim, which looks fantastic. Obviously, the other trims will come with open pore wood options. As we move down to the windows here, we do have one touch automatic for all four, and most of the models will come with memory seats, having at least the premium package, though this specific one does not have that. You have the aluminum pedals there. And then coming over here to the seats, these are the 10-way power adjusting seats as standard equipment. Luxury and ultra luxury models will include 14 ways of power adjustment. And then checking out the F Sport seats specifically, as you can see, we do have the enhanced bolsters, the special design here. F Sport's embroidered into the headrest. And you know, these are the New Lux. New Lux is one of my favorite grades of synthetic leather though, because it feels so realistic. Of course, the ES has always had a very nice and high quality cabin, and that part of it will continue on for 2022. So as we go across our upper dash here, above the gauges is going to be padded leatherette, and the rest of the upper dash is going to be a soft touch plastic with color contrast stitching. Again, you'll see more of that real aluminum circle throughout the cabin. It's going to be soft touch all through here. Along the console, this is going to be leather padded with a stitching detail. And of course, being a Lexus, it means everything in here is going to fit together absolutely seamlessly and feel very solid. Now to start up, put your foot on the brake and press the blue accented button. Of course, being the hybrid does mean that the engine will not necessarily fire up when you start it up. Now, of course, the first thing to take a look at will be our gauges. Obviously, since this F Sport is new to the hybrid, this will be the first time you can get these cool F Sport gauges inside the hybrid model. As you can see, it is basically a combination of those F Sport gauges that you expect, as well as the hybrid gauges. So you have the power, the eco modes right through there. It does change when you change to the different drive modes. So if we switch to sport, you'll see that change configuration right there like that. And let's not forget about the coolest trick. Press this button on the steering wheel. It slides off to the side and then gives you a conventional sized multi-function display over here on the side for things like your safety system. So really cool gauge cluster that we've seen in some other Lexus products, and I continue to really like. Now as we pull back to the steering wheel, of course we do have a nice leather wrap steering wheel across all of the models. If you choose the luxury or ultra luxury, you will add some wood trim to this. And here with the F Sport, you do have the thick rim perforated leather here on the side, F Sport branding, and the double color contrast stitching. As far as the wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. On some of the models, most of the models actually will be power adjusting, so long as you have at least the premium package. And then heating is equipped on most of the models as well, including this one. And I did almost forget to mention that you can also option on a 10-inch head-up display as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at interior storage, which is one area that this ES has always been very successful at. So if we open up our center console here, you're going to notice a lot of space. This is a very deep console, of course nicely felt lined on all the sides as well. It goes down quite a ways, and underneath of this wireless phone charging pad, which is another feature included on most of the models. This does open from both sides as well, which is kind of a neat touch. Up in front of that, we've got a really deep squared off cup holder, and if you push this, you have this really neat piece that comes out and adjusts the height to be a little bit higher. And then our second cup holder is going to be up there, as well as some of our connections located right there. And then pulling back here to the shifter, we do have the typical Lexus affair, really nice leather wrapped shifter with good feel in the hand. You can pull back for drive, of course, and bump over here to the left if you want to shift manually through some simulated gear changes for this hybrid model. And you do have paddle shifters as well. And then heading into reverse, you will see the standard backup camera up here. As you can see, we do have the active trajectory. We also have rear parking sensors on this model, and you can get the panoramic surround view camera if you choose the top loaded model, or if you option it on to one of the lower trim levels. Right over there is your electronic parking brake, but you don't need to touch it because it does activate automatically, and then you do have the brake hold located right behind that. As we move on up the dashboard, we'll come up here to our climate controls next. This is a dual zone automatic climate control setup. It is of course standard on all of the models. And to adjust your temperature, you just use these nice little toggles right here. I really like the cool rolling animation they have, and just how easy everything is located right through here. And then as far as your climate, or seat climate, Lexus is actually including 3-stage heated seats and 3-stage ventilated seats on all but the base model. So that's a really nice touch. It does operate automatically as well, so these can come on with the climate control as well as the heated steering wheel. And we do also have a CD player below that, which is becoming increasingly rare in new cars these days. But returning up here, we have some physical controls for our audio system. So what you have on board is a standard 10-speaker Pioneer premium sound system. And then you also have an optional 1800 watt 17 speaker Mark Levinson. This model has the standard version, so let's go ahead and take a sample. Overall sound quality is perfectly adequate. If you're a big audiophile, of course, get that optional Mark Levinson because you'll really appreciate having those extra speakers inside of the cabin. Okay, but now let's go ahead and rise on up here to our important news for 2022. And that is this new display system here. So you'll notice right off the bat how much closer this is. This is 4.3 inches closer to the driver, and that's because this is now a touchscreen, so you can select all the things through the infotainment system using touch. That makes things a lot simpler than relying exclusively on the pad, though if you do enjoy this pad, it is still down here, so you have both options, which is definitely pretty nice. What you're looking at now is the 12.3 inch display. This is optional and it packaged with the navigation system you see on the display here. Otherwise, you will have a standard 8-inch display, which will just kind of make the bezels a little bit wider. Now, as far as the system itself, this is the latest version of the Inform system. This is not the new Lexus interface that's debuting on the NX here in a little bit of time. This is the Inform system. But as far as the features you have on board, you do have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, which are connected via a wire. As we come up here, we do have an auto-dimming mirror with HomeLink universal remotes included as standard equipment. Also have some nice touch-sensitive LED lighting along the top. And then on this specific example, we do have the standard size moonroof. This is included as standard equipment on all models. However, you can also option on a panoramic sunroof if you want something a little bit larger.
So here I am in the ES's rear area. So let's talk about the space first, because that's always been a very strong point for the Lexus ES. So as far as the space is concerned, we're looking at 39 inches of legroom, 37 inches of headroom, which does place it as larger than some of its competition like the BMW 5 Series and Mercedes E-Class. There's a lot of space back here. Like I mentioned, that's a really strong suit. So we have probably 7 inches or so of legroom. My feet can slide up under the seat. And I do also want to point out, I believe this is new for the refresh to have this leather pocket back, or the leather cover back here. It makes it feel a little bit more premium on the back of the seat back. Now, the features. We have vents here as standard equipment, as you would expect out of a luxury car. You're not going to have your own climate controls, though. If we drop down below that, we have a 12-volt outlet. We're additionally going to have 2 charging USB Type-C ports. I do also want to point out you can get rear window sunshades here on the door as well as in the back. However, heated seats are not going to be available on any ES model. And then we can fold down the armrest and have cup holders inside. And we're also going to have a trunk pass-through. Now, the trunk will be power if you go for that top-end ultra luxury model. We don't have that, but in order to open, just push the button right here on the right side, and it is dampened so it opens fully up. So I really don't see where you would need a power trunk, but that's just me. Now, as far as the space itself is, we have 13.9 cubic feet of space back here. That is a really good figure. That's above the 5 Series, or right on par with the 5 Series, above the Audi A6. And, you know, Lexus does finish it nicely. It is a luxury brand after all. I do want to point out, though, that the seats don't fold, so that's something worth noting. You do have that trunk pass-through, though. And then lifting up the floor here, you will find a spare tire, and there's also an LED light in here. Now your passenger seat will be power adjusting, and you're even going to keep the power lumbar support. And if we pop open the glove box, it is nicely padded on the outside, so that's a nice touch. The coupons do fit in here fine. This is kind of the shelf design, just like the Toyota Camry, so you can throw them way far in the back and they'll stay back there, and then you have a little bit of additional space up in the front. Then if we pop open the sun visor, we have LED lighting, a mirror, and we can detach the visor as well as extend it.
And there's a little acceleration here with this 2022 ES300H. So this is the hybrid model. So you continue to have the same powertrain selection as last year. So with 3 different ones. Last year is when they added the 250 model.
Yeah.
But as far as this one here, this is a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine paired with an electric motor. The total system output behind this is going to be 215 horsepower. And it is paired with front-wheel drive and an electronic eCVT. Now, as far as your other options, we might as well just go ahead and talk about all of them at once here, because you do have a lot of choices. That's one of the big benefits of the ES, is all your choices. The ES250, that comes with a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, 203 horsepower, and that's going to be a 8-speed automatic and all-wheel drive. And then if you choose the ES350, that's your most powerful option. That comes with a 3.5-liter V6 engine, which I don't remember exactly how much power that has.
It has 302 horsepower, 267 pound-feet of torque.
Right, and that's front-wheel drive only. So if you want all-wheel drive, you get the 4-cylinder model. If you want the most fuel economy, you get this hybrid model. And if you want the most power, you get the ES350.
Yeah, the only thing I will note is that the ES350, that engine is one of the most refined engines ever. So if you're used to driving an ES, you might want to stick with that just because it's so refined and you don't have that 4-cylinder noise. Although I will say, taking off in this hybrid model, it's not loud at all. It's very refined. You take off in that battery power and then the 4-cylinder kicks in. It really is totally fine for the average luxury experience. We haven't been behind the wheel of the ES250 yet, though. Hopefully we'll be behind the wheel of that soon enough. But just sitting here in traffic, I think this is really where the ES shines, as well as really this ES hybrid. I think it shines even more, especially sitting in this urban, traffic area. I mean, this vehicle is so comfortable. If you've watched our previous ES reviews, I mean, it doesn't get a lot more comfortable than this. I mean, in a traditional luxury vehicle, this is about as comfortable as you can get. The seats are absolutely amazing. The ride quality is phenomenal. It soaks up the bumps, and I love how it just doesn't really, even though it's an F Sport, it doesn't really pretend to be super sporty or anything. It really is just a lot of focus on comfort and making your driving experience as comfortable and pleasurable as possible.
Right. And, especially with the hybrid, you don't even have to listen to the engine a lot of times, especially when you're just at low speeds in the city. It's super, super quiet in that regard. And speaking of quiet, I'm going to pick up the pace here up to our 55 miles per hour, and we'll snag a sound level reading right now.
55.2 decibels. Really, really excellent reading.
Yeah, you can just tell in here. It is library quiet. You know, the ES really just has that kind of tiny LS feel to it, you know?
Yeah.
And even rolling along down here at speed, the engine's completely off. Let's talk about the handling a little bit. Mason kind of talked about this slightly earlier. Just the fact that even when you choose the F Sport for the ES, you know, this is not a vehicle that pretends to be super sporty or anything like that. ES has a mission. It always has had a mission, and that is comfort and refinement. And, you know, that carries on for 2022. But one of the things that's worth pointing out is for the first time, those of you who want a more dynamic experience, which you could consider to be the successor to the discontinued Lexus GS, you can now choose the ES350 F Sport with a new dynamic handling package.
Yeah.
That's going to give you an adaptive variable suspension. It's going to give you enhancements to the way things feel behind the wheel. That's definitely going to be the sportiest option. So now, like I said, if you wanted to have a GS in the past, this gives you the ability to have kind of that sportier edge applied to the ES now.
Yeah. Alrighty guys, and now it's airball and slam dunk time. Today our slam dunk is just going to be your different powertrain options, and also just the fact that they offer most of them at almost the exact same price point, so you can really pick whichever one you want. You want front drive V6, ES350. You want all-wheel drive, go for the 250. If you want best fuel economy, go for the hybrid. The hybrid is a little bit more expensive,
it's only
but
about $1,000 more expensive. The other two exactly the same price.
Yeah, not a lot of price difference there. And as far as our airball is going to be concerned, I'm still going to say the headlights. I wish that they had, I don't know, for the 2022 model, I really wish they had just made the triple beam standard.
Lexus,
I think
please give us triple beam standard.
I'm going to keep saying it until they listen to me. Make triple beam standard. I don't want an incandescent turn signal on my headlight on a luxury vehicle. And since we were alluding to the fuel economy for the past little bit, let's go ahead and talk about how it is. It's really exceptional for this hybrid model. We're looking at 44 miles per gallon combined. So yeah, you heard me right, 44 miles a gallon. That's really excellent fuel economy. Now the other models will be less than that. The ES250 is going to be 28 combined, and the front drive 350 model is going to be 26 combined.
And all those run on regular fuel too, which is noteworthy because this is a luxury vehicle, and that's going to save you a lot of money in the lifetime of owning this.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and discuss the pricing. That's another strong suit for the ES. You know, this is not, you know, technically you could compare it to like a BMW 5 Series or something like that. It's definitely not going to cost as much as that. So the ES250 all-wheel drive is going to start at $40,800. Same for the 350 front drive. And then the hybrid is going to be $41,900. Now this one, as equipped, when we add a few options, F Sport package plus the 1,075 destination is going to come in at $49,905.
But all in all, this refresh for 2022 really is just strengthened the ES lineup. You know, I feel like ES is kind of a model that it doesn't really like directly compete with any certain thing. It's kind of like a vehicle that's always been very popular. It's one of the best-selling luxury sedans, as a matter of fact. But it's just been popular because it's its own thing. It just really has always, at first and foremost, emphasized, you know, luxury and comfort. But now with this new generation, especially with the refresh, now we're emphasizing even performance, enhancing the technology, you know, giving you that style that people like with the hybrid, for example, and a lot of different options. So, you know, all in all, this just continues to be a stronger ES lineup than even before.
Well guys, we really appreciate you watching our in-depth review of the refresh 2022 Lexus ES. If you enjoyed watching this video, found it helpful, or just like me, or whatever the reason may be, just please hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps us out. Join our family. We do lots of car reviews, so if you're interested in cars at all, I promise you'll love subscribing to our channel. Also, follow us on TikTok and Instagram for our shorter form content. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.